What's happening, y'all? This is Todd Wilson here with Elevate Your Game. Okay, today we have our special guest, Cuttino Mobley. Welcome to the show, Cuttino.
My God.
Appreciate you coming through, man. It's actually our first episode in our new studio. Thank you for blessing us.
Love it. I love it.
We're going to dive in. We're going to talk about Cuttino's favorite movie from our basketball wall of fame here.
He got game.
Yes, sir. And just hopping into things that, highlighting what Cuttino's doing just as a father and being a parent, a full-time parent. He has a bunch of good stuff coming out here. The name of your podcast?
It's Dad's Point of View.
Dad's Point of View. And what's that all about?
Well, Dad's Point of View is basically just kind of highlighting that men are superheroes. I was blessed to have two dads. One's still alive. He's actually at my house right now. My kids love my dad. My dad's spirit's amazing. My stepfather passed away my rookie year in the NBA, and he was both my fathers were my oracles, but he was the biggest oracle of all because he was super educated, and just a big heart like my father. But just going through life and now being a dad myself and always wanting to be a dad, there's certain things that comes with that it's a little tough to navigate, but you got to mature yourself because you have these children that you're trying to help teach the rest of what's going on in the world. But it's more so as a positive thing, man. It's guys, even women coming on saying how their fathers impact them, how they are as fathers, how the woman's husband is to the kids, and all that type of stuff. Because we have to really understand, get these stories out to understand exactly what we as men go through.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a big part of what we do as we're building the basketball firm. We use basketball as a catalyst, with the core and all the programs. So I've been blessed. Cuttino's son is in core and, participates in the program. And it's not just about basketball. That's the thing that draws kids in, is that sport. And what we do is the development. And so with the basketball firm, what we're doing is bringing that more personal development side to student athletes. Mm-hmm. So everything you're talking about that these kids need because of the way the world is working right now, because of the generation that we live in, parents are working, kids are at school most of the day. We're bringing all that aspect to school and to them outside of their club team, outside of whatever they're doing extracurricular, so we could become a support, right. Giving them the identity of who they are, what they're going to do, how they reach their goals, the discipline they need to grow on a daily basis, and bring that all together to build them, what's based on their goals. And so I think what you do and what you bring is a huge part, because our fathers are important, because that's what gives us identity. Yeah. Like you said, like I'm a spiritual man, so God's our father, and we're made in his image. And so what is that? We're God's. We have this aspect and this view of what God is and the power and the authority that God has. And we have to bring that to our kids. We have to show that identity. And the goal is to just impact the generation, one kid at a time, and plant those seeds. We were talking about earlier, just you reap what you sow, the concept of reaping what you sow. What do you think is important for the youth in this middle school, high school age? What are, let's say, your top 3 things that you think they should be focused on, or somebody should be developing in them to get them to where they can reach their goals?
I think there's a few different things, humanly, I would say, right? It's not so much, basketball is one thing, soccer, religion, all these different things are one entity. But if you're really looking at it, you're bigger than that entity, right? You are basically like the universe. So I would really focus, the major things in life you're supposed to focus on is boundaries, right? Self-respect, right? And then time management. Yeah. So whatever it is that you do, right? You have to respect yourself, and respecting yourself, you have to be disciplined, right? And be disciplined and obedient, right? And people, maybe take the word obedience as a negative, right? Because you have to, like a dog is being obedient, but you have to be obedient with your voice that's inside you, right? Because that voice is saying, "Don't go" or "Go," right? So if you're determined and you're disciplined, that voice is saying, "Get up early in the morning, read, meditate, work out, you study, lift, whatever it is that you're doing." You have to be obedient with that. Then, your time management. Right, we BS a lot of our times. So if you're living into, what do they say? 30 years you're sleeping, 30 years you're in a car, 30 years you're like that's a lot of not so wasted time, but if you're going, like if I'm in a car right now, I'm on the podcast, right? So I'm listening to different things, kind of exercising the brain, right? So and sleep is a good thing, but then also too is when your boundaries, and we were speaking about this, your parents tell you what to do, and then you start to tell yourself what to do, and then you start getting older, and the stuff you used to tell yourself what to do, you become. So you got to watch how you talk to yourself. Mm-hmm. So you have to have boundaries with your weak self and your strong self, right? Because now that's purpose before ego. Because to get to somewhere, you have to use your ego because you got to talk yourself into it. But then when I get there, what's my purpose of staying or evolving? So it's purpose before ego. So, for kids, it's hard because they think they always have time, yes. Right? So you got to learn how to manage that. And then boundaries, right? You don't want to never discipline authority, but then also too is you have to have a voice and understand, right? So it's a very tricky thing. I don't think it's a problem when children ask questions or, and it's not just because I said it. It's actually you have to explain to you why these things happen. Now, when you choose the opposite, there is consequences of that.
Right.
But this too shall pass.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. Yes. Okay? Or this could happen to you. So try to help them understand critical thinking, time management, boundaries, and true discipline. I think, and then you can teach them anything. They will learn anything. It won't be so personal because they're starting to evolve and understand themselves. And I think when you don't have those things, it's like a junky room. It's hard to find something, right? Yeah. So it's very hard to either search for true self or find true self when the upstairs is junky. So clean that up, and by cleaning it up, it's the structure, it's the discipline, right? It's the time management, it's the boundaries, it's the those. Yeah. Boom, boom. You keep them like that, and before you know it, it becomes a rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like how your emphasis on boundaries, because I think that comes in so many different ways with the people you're hanging mm-hmm. out with, what you're listening to, mm-hmm. and there's my old school, all this rap stuff you listen to now, but the messages that are in that, right. Even though we did it as well, but there's so much good content that you have access to, mm-hmm. even at a young age. Yeah. People thought I was crazy when I would talk to my daughter, who was probably 1.5 at the time, like she was a grown up. Yeah. I would tell her why she was doing stuff, when she was doing it, right. But now she understands it on a whole different level. Yes. Her comprehension of what's going on in the world around her is super evident. Mm-hmm. And so that is so important, because I think parents want their kids to live life and have fun and have all these great things. But usually what got that parent to success was because they lived in a hard, mm-hmm. A tough environment. They had to come up out of it and build, through adversity and perseverance. It's like, where are you putting your kid through that? What I'm doing, my daughter, her grandparents spoil her. Mm-hmm. They give her whatever she wants. All she has to do is call them. But I'd probably spoil her a little bit. But my daughter, and so what? And I have a 2-year-old son who he has a little tougher, just because I know he's a black man in America on his way. Right. So they're going to start gardening. Mm-hmm. I already started gardening with my daughter. You know mm-hmm. why? Because that process takes time. Yeah. She has to be patient. Yeah. She has to go and water every day. Mm-hmm. She has to pick those weeds out. Mm-hmm. I want her to understand hard work, though she may not have any real, the stories of coming up without mm-hmm. parents or mm-hmm. something like that. Mm-hmm. I want her to have to work for something and right. learn to build. And right. so something like that for these kids, instead of just giving them everything they want. Oh, you want these new shoes? I got you. Okay. With bad grades. With the least you can do. I don't agree how the American school system works, but hey, you better at least get good grades. Yeah. That all is effort. Effort and time. That's it. And it's just so overall, though, with those boundaries, it comes in so many ways. And like you said, it starts at home with the parents. Yes. What are you protecting them from? Mm-hmm. What are you exposing them to? Mm-hmm. And how are you letting them fall on their head mm-hmm. and say, hey, you failed. Good job. Yeah. Good job. You messed up. Now let's fix it. Yeah. Let's fix it. Yeah. And so I think that's just the biggest part that's missing. And you see it crossing over into basketball. You see it with the guys who are these young cats in the NBA mm-hmm. who, they got the talent, the skill, the athleticism. They get there. they don't know how to handle adversity.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's very tough, man. Because Jordan Peterson, I listen to him a lot. A lot of people don't like him. He's a clinical psychologist out of Canada, and he's very conservative and he's strict with certain things. But it's simple how he explains it. And he's telling people in general. I see a lot of these, the soccer moms and everybody deserves a trophy and all this other stuff. And it's like you're killing the human instincts of competitiveness and confidence and everything. That means, and then you build entitlement that everybody deserves. And he said the parent's responsibility, and this is what I say of something different when I'm explaining it. He said a parent's responsibility is to make sure by the age of 4 at least, your children should be socially attractive. Socially attractive. Putting your children in positions that, because your children have to go to a school. They got to go somewhere where you have to work, and then someone else is taking care for them. So I don't want a bad kid. I don't want a kid don't do X, Y, Z. Now the tricky thing is, did you work on yourself? Because not what you tell your child watches what you do. So if you're not a good person, if you don't follow directions, if you feel attacked when someone speaks to you and gives you a little bit of authority or some order or some whatever, or disagrees with you, then your child is looking like, oh, I had to act like my mom or my dad. So I say this all the time. We are children, we are actual children in grown-up bodies playing whatever adult you think is easiest for you, opposed to being an actual grown-up.
Yeah.
Right? And like if you say something to me and I don't agree with it, I don't agree with it. Okay. But I have to understand, my dad used to tell me this when I was younger. You don't get to decide who tells you the truth in life. The truth is the truth. If I don't like Donald Trump, but he says something true, guess what? That's what it is. Right? If I don't like Joe Biden, I don't like Obama, if I don't like these people, but they say something that is true, I don't get to decide who tells it to me. It is what it is. That's the truth. Okay, cool. You understand? And people they feel so attacked because, again, goes back to the father being in the household and not really understanding how to hone your emotions and control your emotions, control the emotion. We feel so attacked on everything. You discipline my son, and it's like, well, what did he do? No. I trust that you know that what he did, X, Y, Z, and I'm watching myself.
Right.
I'm watching myself. Right? And we're not exposed. We haven't been exposed. I think athletes have more so than regular individuals, but being exposed to the uncomfortable so much that when things are uncomfortable, you are comfortable.
Yeah.
We're not like that. We try to ball up and hide and run away and just find something else, and this person's wrong for me. And it's like, well, maybe not that person, because, see, if you've dated 5 times, if you've married 1 or 2 times, or even if you're in a long marriage and y'all don't get together, it's not so much them, it's what you attract. Yeah. You're attracting that. Mm-hmm. That's your attraction. So don't say all men are dogs, but you keep picking the 4 or 5 of them. What are you inside? Yeah. Because you're settling for that. Because guess what? If it's cocaine on this table, or if I'm a vegan and it's meat here, guess what I'm going to say? Looks good today. It's great. No, I don't like it. That's not for me.
My chicken burrito.
Super simple. I will wait. And that's how life is when it comes to relationships. Yeah. Because you don't know yourself, that's when you pick things. A lie is only a lie if 2 people if 2 people believe it. You could just say it's money in that box over there. If I really want money, I will look in the box. If I don't care too much about it, guess what? Oh, cool. It's not mine. Because I understand all what's going on with that box. It's somebody else's box. Why is the money right there? It should be in the bank. It should be here. I'm going through all that process. So when you are dating and you're trying to evolve as a person, no one can just trick you into something. You want it just as much as they do.
It's your responsibility. You have to take responsibility for it. Me and my wife just took this marriage class, and it's based off the book How We Love, and they talk about how your trigger points and your traumas when you were young pretty much built who you are and your love style. And so from that, the first base level is your identity, you know, and this is a class we took out of a church. So it's your identity in Christ, right? What God says you are and who you are. And that second piece is you're responsible for yourself.
Yes, you are.
You cannot say, oh, Cuttino made me feel this way.
Yeah.
What? No. That's me that feels this way.
Nope.
So express it like that. Hey, I feel, and you can express, hey, I feel you're a bad person because you fouled me when I went up for the layup. I could say that, but I can say, oh, Cuttino made me do it. No, take responsibility for yourself first, and you can start see the speck in your eye.
Facts.
So you don't don't see the speck before you see the log in your eye type thing. And so I think that is super important. I always connect stuff back to hoop because I think it's so easy to understand, and that's who we talk to. There's all these young hoopers out here. Is that it's not the coach's fault you're not playing. It's your responsibility to show him that you're ready. No coach wants to lose. No coach is tanking in middle school, AAU, high school, college. Nobody's tanking. So if you prove that you can show them you can win, that's all on you.
Yeah.
And part of it is having a voice. Having that's what happened to me in college, is that I didn't have a voice. Probably one of the hardest working dudes, but super coachable to the point of a fault. He played the dudes who argued with him because he knew that they wanted it. And I was just as passionate, but he didn't know because I was, yes, coach.
Or it could be something totally different. He played the dudes who were argumentative because he himself was not confrontational. So he is more weak of saying, you know what? No, I don't care. I'm putting him in. That's it. But because that's running away from an issue, a problem. Just because he's a coach and he's a grown up, that don't mean he's an adult, right? So he has his own insecurities. So I'd rather play these guys because they're always talking and they're always doing all this other stuff. But see, I'm tired of understanding. So I'm gonna just let him sit because he's not gonna give me no problems.
Right.
It could be that one too.
Yeah.
Right. And it probably was that one.
A little bit. Now that you said that.
You know what I mean? Because you got listen. I don't care if she's old as heck or he's old as heck or not. When they were younger, they did bad things. They lied. They did this. They did that. And they get older, you see people as something totally different. It's like, oh, that old lady, she's never lied before. Oh, that old man's never lied before, right?
Right.
There's old people in prison. There's old people that did these things. You understand? So we have these preconceived notions of what we think an individual is. It's because we're so capped mentally, opposed to just being a little more understanding of how the universe actually works and what it actually is, right? Yeah, so I don't know, man. I try to dive so much more into, like, as much as I teach my sons and my daughter, I teach them about, like, respecting life, like loving life, understanding life, right? Because it's not where I grew up in Philadelphia. It's not they grew up in Beverly Hills and in the Valley. It's that small. We're talking about the whole picture.
Yeah.
I need you to see all of it so you can understand. It's not personal. This is not personal, man. He yell at me, gonna yell at him one day. It's not. Some coaches don't yell. Some coaches do. Like it's not as personal as you think it is, right?
Right.
And when a lot of these younger guys really understand that. There's a Dunning-Kruger effect, right? A lot of people do this. They read one book and they think they're like a genius at the book, right? It's like, okay, I practice, coach starts to practice for 2 hours. I think I'm going to go to the NBA. It's like, that's not how this works, man.
Right.
It takes time and you have to fall in love with the process first. The process is that's the girlfriend, that's the boyfriend that you're going to be around the most. It's not when you hold the trophy or you sign a contract. That's a split second. I sign a contract, split second. I got to go back to doing everything I was doing before I signed a contract to get that contract.
Right.
I got to go back to doing all this stuff again.
Yep.
That's hours, that's 3 times a day, 4 times a day. I go back doing that.
You got to go back to dating. I got to go back
to dating. I got to go back to all that, right? And Jim Rohn speaks about that, right? Like as far as the philosophy of ants, right? They start harvesting at a certain time, so when winter comes, they already have theirs. So they're not partying in the summer. They're harvesting. They're getting ready for the winter.
Yeah.
And you have to understand, that's every clockwork, every single time. The 4 seasons, they know exactly what they're doing. And that's how we should be in life.
Yeah.
Right? You should know exactly. You can have fun, but have fun with structure.
Yes.
Just have fun. You can have fun with the Princeton. Remember how? Oh, you too young, but Princeton, back in the day in the '90s, they cut this, they were backdoor cuts, and they were in game stuff like that. Pete Carroll, coach, and I got him in 2005. He was my coach for Sacramento Kings, and I used to think when I was young, I'm like, that's boring. You can't do nothing. Then when I got to Sacramento, bro, and he was the assistant coach to Rick Adelman, the game that he taught us, that it was so beautiful.
Right.
It was simple. You didn't have to really do much.
Yep.
Right? It was like a machine. And that's evolving in life, like really understanding how life goes and evolving with the inside. Because, a 20-year-old Todd is different than a 25-year-old Todd than a 30-year-old Todd.
Man.
Right? Just like me. Like, and I wake up every morning, like, I get so excited because I feel like I'm getting better as a human.
Got that Benjamin Button.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm getting better, smarter. I'm more energetic to read, learn from just everybody, right? My daughter teaches me stuff. She's 9. My son, 13, teaches me. My other son, people teach me things all day long because I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to learn. I want to know more. And then I go on my rabbit holes of why do they like that or love that or what was this or what was that. Like I love doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when people get to that, life is like it's so beautiful. It's so cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. What did you have a moment where you realized that life is about that development part? Was there an event in your life that you were like, this is it. This is what I should be focused on, is developing myself?
Yeah, when I was in college, growing up, I didn't read as well. So it was a little, I guess, low self-esteem I haven't had with myself, and that's psychology and communications, and then I learned how to speak in front of a whole bunch of people, so it was a little easier for me. And then what I did was I would test myself. I would speak in front of people, and it was uncomfortable, and I made it to a point where I started to really have to I think one thing in public speaking is what I do, or just speaking in front of kids, adults, whatever it is I've studied it so much and I believe in it so much, I don't have a problem speaking it. Mm-hmm. Right? His Bob Proctor was saying, like, a lot of people he says, even professors, people who know things or teach things, a lot of them don't really understand what they teach. They just know the textbook version.
Basketball trainers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? They've never actually done it
right.
on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Right? So it's, for me in college, when I really found out, like, yo, it's okay to learn. Yo, this is feel good. Like, I'm taking my book, right? Because keeping a buck, I see no white girls and white boys sitting in a courtyard just with their book open and la-di-da, life is good. I'm like, dang, I want to. Life cool for them, huh?
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and calm my brain down and give me a book and do that.
Right.
And then I started to learn more. I'm like, wow, let me get another book. Let me get another one. Let me write down some of these notes. And then I'm like, yo, it's cool being smart. Yo, it's cool evolving into a better human. It's cool not taking this personal, not doing this, doing that. And then for me, I think that's when in college I'm like, be very intentional of what you do when you do it. Right? If I'm on the basketball court, I'm only thinking basketball.
Yeah.
If I'm in the kitchen, I'm thinking cooking. Right? If I'm with my daughter, I'm dialed in on her. My son's working out. We go drive to Pasadena to work out. I'm dialed in on his footwork. I'm dialed in on what he's doing. His body language. Right? He just started playing a year, I don't know, a little not too long ago. Mm-hmm. But he still has his ways. But I'm like teaching him character, body language, like all these. And it's not so much as like you making your shot. It's your reaction after you missed a shot, or the ball went over there and you're walking, and just the littlest nuances of like how you become better human.
Man, this is the stuff we're going through with the NBA draft kids that we're going through, is that they're so confident, which is, that's a key. I think that's a key thing going professionally in basketball and the NBA. You have to be confident because everybody in there can hoop. But we're talking to them about those little things, their body language after they miss a shot, when they make a mistake, to like almost celebrate that moment by not reacting. Like, oh no, I'm gonna get it on the next one. And some of them do it really well. They have great self-talk. They're saying it out loud to themselves. You could hear them say it. Versus other ones who are even more talented, but they're hard on themselves. And it's like, man, you only 18. Like, if I was where you're at
Cole
18.
was like that. Cole was hard. I was hard on myself. I used to cuss myself out because I wanted to get it fast. And it's kind of like planting the seed to the tree of shade that you will never sit in. Right? So me learning, and I was a hothead. I'm throwing balls, I'm kicking out, I'm cussing out because I wanted to get there and didn't understand it's going to take a little longer. And if you really stay patient with yourself, you can get there faster.
Yes.
Right? So it's going to take long, but if you stay patient with yourself, you'll get there faster. Right? Because it's like if I don't stay patient with myself, I may get there, but it's going to be a big fight.
Right.
But if I'm patient with myself, knowing the journey is still the same length, it becomes smoother.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm not taking it personal. I understand that, the flower, the seed needs the dirt and then the water, and then some days it's going to rain and it might not do this, but you're still going to block. Like, if you understand that process, then what you're doing becomes that much more colorful, more beautiful, right? And you can withstand it more.
So for the kids who do that, who do have that mindset and understand that, but their parents are putting this outsourced pressure of, you're not dropping 15, you're not shooting a shot, you're letting them take over. These are the things, I said it the last couple of weeks I've been going to AAU tournaments, just trying to get back in there. It's a rough environment.
Oh gosh, I don't like it.
It drains me. It drains me just watching it. And so what I've seen is that the parents are demanding something from their kid that they cannot do. And it's like, no, just let them learn. Let them bump their head. The more mistakes they make in middle school, talk at middle school, the better they're going to be in high school. You keep telling them what to do and giving out commands that are usually different from what the coach is saying or even what they're thinking.
And you never have played at the level.
No, you're an accountant. Hey, go be an accountant. Be great at that.
Be that.
Don't come in here coaching the kid because you watch a couple NBA games and you've seen somebody win championships and you're good in your adult league.
Right.
No. And it's like, so what do you say to either the kid or the parent who is kind of overdoing it with the process, trying to pressure their kid to be better than what they are today?
I would say to the parent, don't, going through life, you got to be really careful because some people bleed on people who never cut them. So, in the relationship with your child, your child didn't do anything to you. So if you didn't get to the dream that you wanted to, but you have children now, your children are golfing, basketball, football, soccer, whatever it is, just be there for them. Just let the development happen. Right? It's like being in a white room with a whole bunch of paint and this is my canvas. Like, don't go in there trying to direct them on what they should draw. Let them have fun.
Right.
It'll come after a while because basketball is instinctual. I don't need you to keep telling me what I should do. I have to read it because these are the cards that were dealt to me.
Yes.
These are my cards God gave me. So I got to play mine. I can't look over here and say, oh, give me that card and put this in. No, these are mine. So you had your cards. Now you're an accountant. Now you're a doctor. Now you're a house mom. Now you're this. Now you're that. Whatever you are, cool. Just be there. And if you see someone that's trying to help your children in a disciplinarian way, back up. Let the coaches be the coaches.
Or take them out of the program.
Oh, that's it.
You don't trust the coach.
You got to go.
Then leave.
You got to go.
Don't
you don't get to micromanage over here.
Nope.
Do that somewhere else.
Right.
Because you might not be doing it at home. So don't get here and now you got, I call it the courageous buddies. Now you got the other buddies that's doing X, Y, and Z. Now you want to step in. No, you don't get to do that. That's one. And then for the children, I would say, because it's very hard, right? But I would say just keep working. Be patient with yourself, right? Because if you worry about because Michael Jordan made his name. His parents didn't make the name. Parents gave him the name. Cuttino Mobley, I made my name. My parents didn't make my name. They gave me my name. Cristiano Ronaldo, Tom Brady, right? We made ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay, you gave us the name, but we made the name better for you. Right? The last name, we made that better for you.
Yeah.
So I say that to younger people, stay patient with yourself, keep working out, and life is a cheat sheet. If you really want to become something, listen and study the people who you want to become.
Well,
That's it. I love my mom, but she's not a pro. I love my dad. He is not a pro. I was studying Eddie Jones, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan. I was studying those guys to become that. Now, guess what? Me and my spiritual realm, right? I'm the Sanjay Guru. You know what I'm saying? Deepak Chopra, right? I'm Jay Shetty. I'm all these Bob Proctor, Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, right? Jim Rohn. I study those guys. Tony Robbins. I study those guys. Eric Thomas. I study those guys because that's my other phase.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not studying the bummer in the corner.
Right.
Even though he may have some good insight, but at the end of the day, I want to become this, so I'm studying that.
Yep.
So no matter what someone else says to me,
Regardless if it's your parents.
yes, if you believe in that, do your work, be respectful, and hone in on your craft. Be patient with yourself, but don't take what they say, because parents, a lot of parents, they give you their insecurities.
Yep.
Rarely do parents put you in an uncomfortable situation on a regular basis. It's too much. Too much homework. It's too much school. It's too much this. You can't go there. It's a lot more of that than it is. Push yourself. Come on. Man. Study. Get your work done. Come on. I did it too. Let's go. I don't want to hear this. I'm not negotiating with you. This is what we got to do. Come on. And then they feel, my son Miles feels so much better after we do our hard stuff.
Yes.
Yo, Dad, we going tomorrow? Yeah, we going tomorrow. In the summertime, we going 3 times. Like, that's what we do, baby. Because you're going to see, you have to really entrench yourself in your world to understand your improvement. Everybody wants to be, if I go and lift one day, I go, I can't see nothing. 2 weeks, if you document it and you really hone in on your journey, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're like, oh, wow, yeah. Exactly. Do you want to keep doing it? I want to eat better. I want to go sleep more. I want to do this. I want to do that. Compounds. You keep doing it. Compound interest.
Yeah.
You compound interest. And when kids really start to document yourself. Document it. It's okay. And then you start to understand, like, wow, if I keep doing this, I can get to that. It's that simple. Earl Nightingale speaks about it.
Yeah.
What you think, you become. Right?
Yep.
It's not what you want in the universe. It's what you deserve. Okay, what I deserve. What do I deserve? Well, the deservance comes from how hard you worked. What are you thinking inside? That's what it is.
Yep.
In life. So.
Got games your favorite?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh man, it's just,
the East Coast swag of it?
No, that's East Coast too.
That's true.
That's East Coast too. It's just Denzel, the whole dynamic of the son, father, and the misunderstanding and not really understanding. And it's kind of like us as fathers now, right? Like I think society, and it's showing, right? Where society it's kind of taking the father away from the home, or like taking their voice away from them. And you can be God-fearing, religious, spiritual, whatever it is, but I think it's some evil kind of like takeover of like getting the man out, confusing the children early. The boy thinks he's a girl, the girl thinks he's a boy. Like all these different things. It's because there's no stability. Yeah. There's no real warrior in the house, right? So right. It's like a lot of kids are raised by estrogen. Mm-hmm. Right? So, and no disrespect to women, but like, you're not, like, in lack of better term, like you're not warriors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not like, you have a certain nature about you as a female. And then as a male, you should have a certain nature about you.
Right.
And I think they've softened us up a lot. And a lot of things are like, me winning custody, right? And going through all that, the whole years and spending money, and then now all of a sudden, if you spend the money after you hear all these stories that weren't true, now it's, to a point where it's like, no one scrutinized them, but what they've done. Mm-hmm. But it was the other way around, we're the monsters. And like trying to flip in a positive way, it's like, don't talk about what they're doing wrong. just talk about what we're doing great as fathers, right? Like how we're needed. We're needed big time, and statistically, like it's off the charts, right? Little girls, you know what I mean, from education to pregnancies to being successful. You know, Doc was just saying, like, you know, where do you get this from? From he's like, my dad. Like, my dad instills this in me all the time, and I jump on my son like. But, you know, my dad's here. He's literally came here. He's leaving next week. He's coming
So that was your
for-
post on your Instagram the other week. Oh man, y'all look
just alike.
that's wild.
Twins.
Oh yes.
Twins, bro. But we have the same personality. Like, just, you know, I'm from the hood. So it's just, you know, I'm from the neighborhood, but I'm not from the hood, right? Like, my dad's from the hood. My dad, he's a 2-striker. 3rd strike, he go to jail for. My brother's serving 3 lifetimes. My other cousin's 2-striker. So we you know what I mean? I've learned how to fight since I was 6. I come from a rougher background than most. I've built myself into a more polished than, like Kobe. You look at Kobe when he was 18, 19, 20, 21, very immature. We said things, we did things, and then we become a little more stoic, a little more, you know, more calmer because we're more comfortable with ourselves. But again, too, is that's a lot of mentors for Kobe. His father, who was kicked out the league because of drugs, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's a better man, and Kobe seen that, and then, you know, the other mentors until we got to pros, and we got to the pros. It was Jerry West, it was Michael Jordan, it was Scottie Pippen, it was Phil Jackson, it was Brian Shaw, it was, right? It was so many mentors for him to take a little piece of, and then become Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people admire that, but they don't understand the immaturity that we go through at a younger age. And he had mentors.
Right.
I had mentors. I had 2 fathers, right? I had people, but you still are a knucklehead because you're trying to find your way. And like, you know, for, you know, just the reason why that's so many meanings is because, like, the misunderstanding of, like, the man. As soon as first of all, this click phrase, toxic masculinity. I don't believe in that. Usually you're raised by women in a household for the first 7 years. There's grandma, auntie, mom, all of them, right? You've got a whole bunch of ancestors. You're raised by that. Mm-hmm. So, I call it, this is my version, the Tarzan theory. So if you're raised by all those women majority of the time and the man's out working, who you act like? You're going to act like more of a female, emotionally. Mm-hmm. So usually, the word toxic never came from man. Toxic more so was like the females, whether they're catty, they don't like. You think about Mean Girls, this movie, right? Little girls, they start when they're younger, right? I love women, I love girls, my daughter, the whole thing. But toxic comes from that. Like, she's toxic, whatever that is. Then add masculinity to it now because you're acting like something you were raised. Your first 7 years of your life, 75% of your brain development.
Yeah.
Women don't fully develop their brain-wise until 26, 27. So you're learning on someone else's preconceived notion of how you should act, what you should do, blah, 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 all these different things, right? So if you have the man in the household, my household, I don't negotiate with my children. They love me, and I love them. The doc's telling me this, different people telling me this. Guy walked up to me, my dad, the other day, Miles is AAU, and he's like, him and his wife, and his kids, and he was like, I don't know you, but man, you're so good to all these kids, and you always tell them the right thing, and blah, blah, and you don't even know these kids. And I'm like, that's how I was raised, man.
Community.
Like, this is the rent you should pay while you're on earth. That's what God said, okay, this is the rent. You got to be good to people. When I teach you something, you got to teach them. That's what you have to do, right? And I think we're selfish as a society, but also, too, is a lot of men were muzzled at a very young age and didn't know their true nature as being a man. And what does that mean, right? Because they weren't raised around them, right?
Man, I just actually started therapy recently just to make sure I'm good and checking in and all that. And a big part that I mentioned was that I had 2 dads, right? I had my dad, my biological father, who I saw every 2 weeks or so.
I had 2 dads too.
And then my stepdad, who lived in the house with me, but I've known him since I was 2.
Right.
Like, I didn't experience the breakup between my parents or none of that. So reflection of a father to me was always a good light. But my dad worked 13 hours a day. an hour and a half away. So we saw him for 2 hours when it was dinner time, bedtime. He was tired and all that. On the weekends, we would hang out. But nobody taught me. My dad, my biological father, when I moved back with him when I was 21, taught me to shave when I was 21. Taught me how to budget when I was 25. I missed all these man things. My mom showed me how to be respectful, like you said, the muzzle, learning how to work hard. I saw the example, but the things that I think a man should know how to do at a very young age, how to take authority, how to have confidence in myself, and all those little things.
Control emotions.
Man, I was a hothead. Emotions. I was a hothead until the one time I cussed at a coach, which is crazy. After my mom busted my lip and took me to the emergency room, and she took basketball away from me for 3 weeks. That's what hurt. And that's the accountability I always talk about to these kids. These parents are like, what should I do? He's acting up. He's not good. Take what they love. And, unfortunately, we live in a world where whoopings can be seen as child abuse sometimes, even though it's a form of discipline and love. Like, take basketball away. Take that phone away from them. They don't need any of that. If they're at school, you need to call me. I can get you your kid.
Exactly.
Like, the like you said, they don't have, would you say, use the word, not choices. They don't have, there's no negotiation in your households. And it's like these parents want to see their kids as an equal almost. And it's like, no, you're supposed to be showing them how to do life by being an example, one, because they're always going to do what we do, not what we say. Secondly, teaching them the things that we didn't do well, that you want them to do well, that our parents didn't teach us.
It's funny you say that because I had on my Instagram, I was talking to someone, I think, I was at a podcast and we were speaking about, should your kids be your friend? I'm like, no, I'm not your friend. Okay. I'm your parent. Now, Trevor Noah and Jay Shetty was talking about this on Jay's podcast On Purpose. He said, Trevor was saying that Trevor's mother said, listen, I'm your mother first, but we can build to become friends when you get older. See, because if you are a good human being, if you are a good parent, that comes mentorship. It's so much that comes with that, okay? Because you're teaching, whether you have kids or you don't. You're trying to teach. You're learning and you're trying to teach, right? And these are all skills I can speak about. But you think of that where she's saying, okay, you know what? I'm your mom now. And I'm so complete and my self-esteem is so high to understand that I don't know everything. I'm going to teach as much as I can. If I don't know it, I'm going to send you to the best individual so you can become better at it. That's what my parents did. But then while you develop, I'm going to learn from you because there's certain situations that I didn't go through or I didn't have that you can teach me. So now the older I get, now when you're 25, 26, yes, I'm your parent, but guess what? You're an adult. There's I don't have authority over you. See, as parents, a lot of parents, they have this possession, like you're my possession kind of thing, right? And God doesn't, when you try to stranglehold anything in life, he'll take it from you. Right? So I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. So I believe in those type of karmas. I believe in those type of energies that transfers like that. I give my children critical things like God gives us, right? A choice and a chance. I give you a choice. Now, giving you that, responsibility comes from that. So there is no, you didn't do this, okay, this you can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to argue with you back and forth. As simple as that. If I don't work here, guess what? Lights go off. That happens. So if I explain it to you when you're very young, when you get 10, 11, 12, 13, like my kids are, we're not arguing back and forth.
And I'm doing that with my daughter, right? Last night, it was, hey, time to take a bath. And she's on this whiny phase too. We're trying to get rid of that whining. Like, hey, we don't whine. We just talk or we cry. Pick one. I don't care if you show an emotion. We're not in the middle with the whiny phase. That's unnecessary. So tell me how you feel. Let's talk about it. She's pretty wise for her 4-year-old self. And it was hey, it's time to take a bath. Oh, I want to finish my iPad. What? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, get to her level, said, hey, it's yes, daddy. Okay, it's whatever I say because it might be an emergency, and I'm telling you what you to do. I need you to do it with a sense of urgency.
That's it.
And I said, now, on your way to doing what I'm telling you to do, you can ask me questions. I'm okay. That's what my mom, I think our parents didn't have us do. We weren't allowed to ask questions about it. Don't question me.
Because they think that it's talking back, right? And it's not. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you become a better human, because you're just like the laws of attraction, the laws of the universe, the laws of God. There's laws you have to go through.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't care if you question me. Listen, I'm a professor. I teach you a subject. I'm teaching you that subject, but you can question me about the subject. If I don't know that, I got to study myself as a professor.
Boom.
It's very simple. It's super simple. So I want you to be, because guess what? There's two little black girls, I think 13 and 14 years old. They just solved a math problem that was, I want to say 200 years old. A math problem, two black girls. So throughout those whole years, people were trying to question and said, nope, it's not that. No. And what you're doing is you're taking away the creative ability that God has given that individual, because we're all so special.
Yeah.
So what you know, I may not know, but you can put it in my head, and all of a sudden, the seed starts to grow. I'm like, wow, Todd told me that. Now I see this spectrum so much bigger, broader, different.
Yes.
Right? Like, and so you Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying, he was in New York at Central Park, and it was just got finished raining, so it was a big old puddle, and he, him being a scientist, he saw this lady walking with her son, and her son had on the rain boots, and he had on a jacket, and a rain jacket, the whole thing, and he was just happy as heck, and it was sunny out, so it was dry out, but it was still puddle from the rain, and he said to himself, he says, "Oh man, please don't do that." And she took the boy's hand and she walked around the puddle. And he said, that little incident tells you how capped we are as a human imagination. That little boy, if his mother, you're already prepared.
Yep.
You got the boots on, you got the rain jacket on, you're prepared to get wet. And even if you get wet, you didn't have it on, it's no big deal, it dries up.
Right.
But he's saying the mother, what she's doing is the smallest of things she didn't know she was doing. It's like we would say, don't question me, don't do this, don't do that. I remember in Catholic church when I was younger, you don't question God, you don't question God. No, you telling me not to. He didn't tell me not to. I need to understand these things. So when that lady takes that little boy and he doesn't walk in that puddle, she's taking away creative abilities.
Yeah.
So if my kids are talking to me, they ask me something, what I say? Didn't I say no? And you taking away, they're like, oh, well, I guess I shouldn't say anything now.
Yep.
Guess I shouldn't do anything now.
Put a muzzle on them.
You put a muzzle on them, bro. And that's what they did to us as human beings, especially as men. You put a muzzle on them. You think about it. For every 10 women's stores, there's only 1 or 2 men's stores. Right? And just talking about this in general, right? They don't really care too much about, and then we ourselves don't care too much about ourselves.
No.
Nowadays, therapy's good. Going to get manicure, pedicure is good. Massages is good. Us talking about our feelings is pretty good. Like, we should be evolved. We wouldn't have evolved big time as human species, as men.
Yeah.
If these things were accepted back then. You know what I'm saying? Right. So everything is catered more to the woman's feelings. Like I say, the stores and this and and it's confusing actually to them. There's a quote that I always go by. Is you're only as faithful as your options. If you only have 2 women's stores and you have 2 men's stores, I can only choose from those. That's like a poor person. If I only got $5, I got to be selective on how I spend that $5.
Right.
Well, if I'm rich, I can go try to buy anything. I may spoil, may not use it, but I can just go and get anything.
Awesome. So it's two segments of the show. One of them I'm going to ask you to kind of guide me with. What's your favorite part of basketball? Meaning like a skill, a scorer, a passer, or rebounder, defense, a team chemistry, a coach. What's your favorite part of basketball?
It used to be scoring, and then I think Tom Thibodeau, who's the head coach of New York Knicks, I think he's the best defensive mind ever in basketball. It went through, like me, I want to be the defensive coach.
That's dope. Okay.
I love that.
So, all right. Well, if I start coaching again, I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So this is called My Rushmore. Okay. So think about the Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
I want your top 4 defensive players in the NBA right now.
Right now?
Right now.
Marcus Smart, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and I would go Clay or Anthony Edwards.
So not our defensive player of the year, Jaren Jackson. Not yet.
Do you know why? The reason why is because out of all the 4 I just named, Joel Embiid does what he does. And Joel Embiid's averaging 30.
Yeah, he is.
Right? He only averages 15. And Joel Embiid can do that. If I tell Joel Embiid, give me 3 blocks a game, he can do it.
Got
That's just how he is. And he give me 30.
right.
Giannis is doing that and he give me 30-12.
I like it.
You know what I'm saying? And then Marcus Smart, he going to knock some down. You know what I'm saying? He going to do his thing. He going to give me 15, 16.
And your 4th was Clay or
Anthony Edwards.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm taking Clay.
Yeah.
Over Anthony, but
Yeah.
no, it's a solid 4. Yeah. So my 4 definitely have Marcus Smart. Definitely have
Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo. I'm gonna say it right. Antetokounmpo.
Uh-huh.
Giannis.
So you got Marcus Smart, Giannis.
I'm taking Jaren. This is why.
Jackson?
I'm taking Jaren Jackson Jr. This is why, though.
Put him in foul trouble.
His ability to guard 4 positions.
Joel Embiid, that's all he do. 1 to 5, all day long.
Ah, man.
And guess what? I'm putting him in foul trouble. Jaren Jackson, that boy Jackson cannot guard Joel Embiid. At all. Not at gunpoint.
Maybe we'll see. No, we probably won't see.
Not at gunpoint.
That's interesting. Okay, that's fair. I just like the job that Jaren is doing.
Oh yeah, great job.
Right now. Yeah.
Great job. Joel Embiid
I see
is shuffling his feet. He's out 30 feet from the basket. They try to go past him. He blocking it. And guess what? You got a big that's defender. Giannis or him or Jared Jackson. If I put Joel Embiid in that post, he'll foul him out.
Yeah, or just give him 40. One of the
Easy.
two. One of the two. I
It's
see
like
what you're
Shaquille
saying.
O'Neal.
Yeah.
Like it's unstoppable. That boy's unstoppable.
That's interesting. So there's a balance of the offensive power and being able to guard a high level player versus just being an all around defensive player to everybody. How do you do against the All-Stars?
Because that's all you got to concentrate on. Kobe was amazing. Give you 30 and then he gonna try to lock you up. Like that's crazy.
That is.
I love Tony Allen. One of the best defenders ever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you only got to focus on one thing.
But it's smart as a player to lock in on that and get your
For a
bag.
fact.
Get your bag. So
You better. That's what I love.
you've been watching the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a segment we call "Where Were You When?" Okay, we're getting in the DeLorean. We're taking a time machine, not too far away for this one.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back to the Denver game, Jamal Murray's 4th quarter. Did you watch it?
What do you have? 20,
20, I believe.
23?
23. Karina, can you look up Jamal Murray 4th quarter so we could view
It was
the
crazy.
camera?
No, it's crazy.
Yeah. What about his 4th quarter? What were you thinking when watching that happen?
I think he's getting his legs under him, and it's getting to a point now where, he's off for what, a year, a year and some change, and what do you call it? The bubble Jamal.
Yes.
It was like that.
Yeah, he was cold.
So it was 2 people who ran a team. It was Joker and him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he went down, Joker, of course, MVP 2 years in a row. But it kind of, I think now that, I don't know if they told him this, but it's like, yo, listen, I need you a lot. And if they can get that from Jamal, I mean, on a consistent basis, Denver's dangerous.
Man, that's what I said. His ability to take over a game with Joker being there, and they have the depth on the wing with all them 6'8", 6'9" dudes who can shoot.
But how about this one? Minnesota has really good wing defenders. Didn't they play Minnesota?
They are, yeah.
They have really good wing defenders.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Minnesota's interesting in itself.
I think Minnesota too is relinquish the rights to who is the number one superstar. Cat, you got to relinquish it. It's Anthony Edwards.
100%.
Super simple.
Now, this is an interesting take, but it's one that I've seen consistently with Anthony Davis. Is that Anthony, when he decides that he's the man, they're great. But can he keep that mindset for a full season?
It's okay to be a number two.
And you think
I was a number two.
You were great number two.
Don't be. Scottie Pippen was a number two.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People are number twos, man. Be a great number two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Anthony Edwards has a bigger upside than everybody on Minnesota's team.
100%.
Just let him do his thing, and y'all just him first, then Cat, and everybody else just Conley and all of them just.
I think Rudy Gobert kind of throws himself in there, trying to be the number two.
No, you're not that.
Yeah.
You're not that at all.
Right.
You're not even number three.
But if he does the focus on defense,
that's it.
And dunking,
that's it.
Changes the whole game.
That's it. That's the thing about life. The camera is not being anything but the camera. The elephant can't go, I want to be a lion. Just be what you, in the basketball and soccer, the forward is the forward, the goalie is the goalie. The goalie don't go out to the forward side and the forward goes back, especially in professional. This is what I do. So know exactly what you do and be great at that. That's it. You have your Dwayne Wades and the Kobe Bryants and the, certain people who can do a lot of different things, but Kobe can't beat Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So what do you teach Miles then at this young age? So when do you develop what you do? Because Miles is barely scratching the surface, mm-hmm. right? And we know his athletic ability and his awareness and just IQ, little things that he has going for him. Mm-hmm. But what do you tell someone at what age do you start locking into that role?
Well, yeah, so for Miles, because he's so athletic, he's strong, he's big, I tell Miles, I'm like, listen, I want you to be more well-rounded. So because the more well-rounded, I'm teaching him a character of like, clean up everything. Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's my favorite point, right? And then I go Magic. Because Jason Kidd was fast, he can jump, he can see, he controlled the game. And that's how I want Miles to be more of like, do everything. And then when you get to the higher level, you'll understand because you'll do it a lot, right? Because it's a pattern. You're only going to do what your pattern is. So now I'll see it, and then the teams will see it, what your pattern really is. And then now we're going to hone in on that pattern. Now we hone in on that character, because that's a character. Okay, this is what I need you to do, right? Because now, and what I have him doing is, I need you to be the guy who rebounds. I need you to do this. Because I can be the dad, being a guard, a big guard. Yo, I want my son to play the wing. Well, who's going to play down low?
Right.
I played down low. I'm learning how to play down low.
I was the starting center for my senior year.
Right, so that's me. Right, I was the three. But I played the big, right? They post me up a lot. So I'm like, I want him to understand that this is how you do it. And then when you move up to the guard, the guy's going to be shorter than you. But guess what? You can bring it, like Giannis, you can bring it up, have the guards come pick for you, you get them shots, you go out to the cup. Like, be that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, be now. He's going to be an unselfish individual because that's how I teach the game.
Right.
You know me. I'm like, get it, go. I want you to go. Because you play better if I feed you.
We won the championship without you. You were supposed to be there.
My bad.
Yeah.
That's okay. My bad.
But yeah, no, that's good. I think that's great. What we've been talking this whole time, that process, accepting who you are, mm-hmm. right? This basketball is such a big equivalent to life, and people use basketball to make millions or to be this person, mm-hmm. rather than using it to build a life for themselves, mm-hmm. and how to stay in basketball even though it may not be at the NBA or pro level or even college for you. There's a route you take. There's something you learn by grinding every day in practice, getting your own shots up and building the discipline and life skills that you need to be a good basketball player that carries over to any career, any opportunity, being an entrepreneur and self-starter and doing stuff on your own. Like, that's why I just love hoop. And it continues to teach me. It continues to teach me on a daily basis, working with kids, working with pros, seeing that big gap of these kids who think they're going to the NBA. And like, I know it. I see it
Right.
every year.
Right.
I love doing the pre-draft because I get to see that jump from, hey, I'm no longer an amateur, right, or a student athlete. I'm a pro.
Right.
What does that look like? What effort does that
Right.
take? And it keeps evolving. 5 years ago, when we had DG and Darius Baisley and these guys, it's different from who we have there now because the college scene has changed. Who they're playing against. There's the transfer portal and how old they are when they enter the draft. And even the training style and the reads of basketball is constantly changing. And so it's just like, man, you think you headed somewhere, but
Yeah.
this is what it actually looks like. So listen to this. Listen to him. Please. These are the things that are important, parents, not them hitting a jump shot. It's the discipline that it takes to get shots up. that really, really matters. So
Yeah, man. You don't, so especially for young guys going to the pros, girls, whatever it is, it's not so much as what you get from it as far as money and fame and everything, but who you become. Like, that's what you should be most excited about.
Yeah.
Who am I going to become? Right? And from there, everything else falls into place.
Awesome. Anything else that you wanted to talk about or cover?
No.
All right, you got a 24-second shot clock. Tell us about what you have going on and how we can support you and all of your endeavors.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Cuttino's Life, CUTTINOSLIFE. I'm doing Dad's Point of View, for-profit and non-profit, going around the country, even around the world, speaking all over the place, interviewing different fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters who are impacted by strong superhero men. And right now, doing motivational speaking around the world. Just trying to, give my experiences through life and try to help people become the best version of themselves.
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming
Yes,
and joining to elevate your game.
Yes,
Always
sir.
a pleasure just speaking with you, man. Gain knowledge more and more every time I speak with you. And let me know if we can ever do anything for you.
My guy. Appreciate you.
Yeah.